Hello everyone, Chicken here. Today I'm going to explain to you the many differences and some similarities between each role in Honor of Kings and Mlbb. I might make this a series for multiple different things like basic macro, UI, and general things, so it makes it easier for people to transition to HOK and not be as confused. So make sure to sub, like, and comment what you think about my comparisons, anything you would like to add. I will start off with the roles I'm most familiar with, from most familiar to least familiar in this order: Clash Lane / EXP, Farm / Gold Lane, Support / Roam, Mid, and Jungle. Starting off with Clash Lane EXP lane. The most obvious difference is that in EXP lane, the cannons give more EXP, and in Clash Lane, you have the teleporter. The whole idea of both roles is quite similar. You're supposed to create lots of early game impact and rotate to snowball, and you generally will fall off the later the game gets. Of course, depending on what hero you are playing. Both games have their own split pusher rat heroes. For Mobile Legends, you have Zilong, Argus, Sun, etc. And in HOK, you got Lee Sin, Fuzi, and Miwei, etc. But how teamfights work with Clash and EXP are most definitely not the same. I'll go over both playstyles for each lane, regarding people who like the perma split and those who actually like to be useful and rotate for their team. Starting with the biggest difference, the Clash Lane teleporter. Not only does a teleporter allow you to choose any minion or tower on the map to teleport to, it also doubles as a jungle monster that can give you bonus gold. It's a free teleport spell, but in your lane with a gold reward. This solves the boredom issue I would get very often playing XP in Mobile Legends. In a lot of games, nothing happens in EXP until turtle fights, so you just clear waves, unable to really fight unless your opponent is bad. But in Honor of Kings, because your lane has a teleporter and a bonus gold creep, everyone but the marksman will literally come to your lane and fight for that shit, like their lives depend on it. It creates a lot more intensity in the early game, and a lot more opportunity along with risk. It is both punishing and exciting, with more emphasis on skill expression and knowledge. It puts a lot more pressure on what heroes you choose. I find matchups to be so much more significant in Honor of Kings, because you're trolling your team if you pick someone who's too safe and you let the enemy team have priority over the teleporter. Because when that happens, oh no, your lane opponent and the jungler are both teleporting to your farm lane and your farm lane dies. GG, your team is tilted at you and now at a major disadvantage. In Mlbb, more often than not, especially at the first turtle, you are usually expected to nosedive the jungler to help secure the turtle for your team. Outside of objectives is when you have some more options as to who to go for. It's not super practical most of the time to go across the map to go for gold lane, as you could lose a lot in your own lane. HOK, you're more often solely focusing on the backliners, like the marksman or the mage. One of the biggest reasons for this is due to HOK junglers and backliners function a bit differently compared to Mlbb. Junglers have absurd mobility or tankiness, and will most of the time have the highest farm on each team. More often than not, attempting to dive them alone will result in you dying. There's also really only two high mobility marksmen in HOK, being Arlie and Marco. Compared to every meta Mlbb marksman having a dash, it's much easier to dive them. As for mages, it is no different, albeit some more mobile mages like my Shiranui. That character is AIDS to play verse. As for split pushing heroes, the playstyle is a lot more enjoyable in HOK due to the teleporter existing. If you know your hero really well and manage to win with a split push hero, you could TP to the opposite lane to push even more or farm more. It's also possible to run Smite in Clash Lane, unlike in Mlbb, which removed that playstyle and gutted it years ago. Running Smite on Clash lets you be able to steal jungle creeps and even buffs if you know the timing correctly. Split pushing in Mlbb overall gets stale, as it's just rinse and repeat. Clear wave, bush camp, and clear more waves till you're full build. If you're interested in trying Clash Lane, I would suggest Biron, as he's one of the best in the meta and pretty easy to learn. Check out some of my videos on him if you're interested. On to the next role, Farm Lane versus Gold Lane. Both roles, macro-wise, are basically the same. Clear your waves, don't die, and get your items as fast as possible. Although the goal for both roles is the same, the process of getting there is where it starts to differ. The first difference is the existence of the bird in Farm Lane compared to the gold crab in Gold Lane. The bird in HOK gives your whole team a bit of gold, but only spawns once. The gold crab, on the other hand, gives less gold, but doesn't stop spawning. The second and largest difference is within the marksmen themselves. A majority of the marksmen in HOK have no mobility or low range dashes, with only a minority being considered mobile. Compared to Mlbb, Most marksmen have dashes, and even the dashes themselves are longer. Now combine this knowledge with the fact that HOK overall has much more crowd control compared to Mlbb, as well as more burst. Whether it's exactly the durations or the skills for CC, I don't precisely know, but combine this, it makes so much more difficult to play farm lane in HOK compared to playing gold lane in Mlbb. It is truly meant for those who want a harder, more challenging experience. You can die so easily, and you're forced to run flash on most marksmen because of the lack of mobility. In Mlbb, you can run Purify on most marksmen because you already have a base dash. It is also incredibly hard to come back and farm, and just trying to permasplit for towers, due to the existence of the Clash Lane teleporter and be able to TP across the map, it makes it a lot harder to just try and split push. Only the best people and best players play this role and succeed at the top. Now, onto the roles I'm less familiar with, starting off with Roam. I can still explain the biggest differences, but feel free to leave any other additional info that I leave out of the video in the comments below. Support and Roam probably have the second largest difference out of all the roles when comparing them to each other. This is largely due to the playstyle difference and meta difference. In Mlbb, roamers should be clearing mid first, and then rotating with mage to go to gold lane or invade. Now in ranked, people who don't know how to roam just go to gold like bots. They start gold like bots and are dumb. So I'm speaking about what they should be doing in general. The playstyle doesn't really change beyond that. Either start mid or start gold, or start mid and go gold. You also can't really play damage roam anymore because they destroy dire hit because it needs now a teammate to activate. I actually loved playing damage roam and cheesing in Mlbb, and I was very upset when they removed it. I find the straightforward and repetitive gameplay loop of roam to be a bit boring over time. No wonder that is the least played role in the game. Now in HOK, damage roams aren't really a thing either, but you can play each game so differently compared to Mlbb. Mlbb having only one good starting route and one worse route is very limiting. In HOK, you can start Clash Lane, help your Clash get priority and steal jungle camps, and then get the gold creep and TP wherever you want. Or you can start mid, clear fast, and try to steal a jungle creep with your mid laner, or just rotate to either Clash Lane or farm with your mid laner to try and get a kill. You can even steal buffs level 1 if you're playing Liang or Dong Huang and absolutely tilt the enemy jungler. The versatility in playing support is insane and 10 times more fun in HOK compared to Mlbb. In Mlbb, the roam meta is currently focused on tank flicker engages, and some supports work, but mostly on tanks and sets. Supports do work, but you will often find better results as a tank, unless you are an e-girl who's a one-trick Angela or Florin with their jungler duo and coin flipping every game. Now in HOK, supports and tanks are both very strong. So now those e-girls who one-trick Yarya, HOK's version of Angela, they actually win a lot, and Yarya becomes one of the most banned, annoying ranked heroes. Once again, feel free to leave in the comments below if there's anything else to point out that I don't, catch up on regarding to roles I'm not familiar with. On to mid lane, which is probably the most similar to its Mlbb counterpart. The meta heroes are typically the same: artillery or CC mages, minus my Shiranui, that hero. They fight for mid priority and then they rotate. There's only two notable differences, one being the existence of the Clash Lane TP. It allows the mid laner to gank Clash and TP back to mid, compared to Mlbb, where it's never really optimal to gank XP instead of gold, only rotating towards XP side for the turtle when it spawns. The other difference is how junglers rotate to leech mid gold a lot, which I'll go into more detail talking about the jungle now. Now, with the role with the largest amount of differences, the jungle. Not just the objectives are different, but the macro and playstyle are also different. Firstly, in Mlbb, junglers cannot take lane minion gold if anyone without retribution is nearby. They get 0 gold and the ally gets all of it. Until 5 minutes is when they can share the gold. This makes it so that the jungler will actually not be the richest in the game unless they get kills. On the contrary, the goal for junglers in HOK is to hyper farm and attempt to carry with their large gold lead. They will clear jungle camps and then path to lanes, mostly mid lane, to leech gold and repeat this process with every other lane. By doing this, the jungler will be much higher gold than everyone else and would ideally snowball. The jungler is truly the most impactful and most meaningful role in HOK, and having a good and bad jungler, or good or bad jungler, is a night and day difference. Even the objectives are more impactful than Mlbb's turtle. The yellow tyrant giving you bonus overall damage, and getting enhanced just gives you even more damage. And the Overlord, helping push all 3 lanes for constant priority, and when enhanced, allows you to clear a whole lane worth of minions with just a click of a button. If you master jungle and master macro and the playstyle, you could easily climb to the highest ranks. Overall, both games' roles might seem similar on the surface, but the specific differences change the game's feeling entirely. From being boring and repetitive to being unpredictable and, well, not repetitive. If you're interested in playing any of the roles in Honor of Kings, here's some suggestions from heroes to play. For Clash lane, I would suggest Biron, Uzi, FwydChickn. For farm lane, Marco Polo, Long, or Lady Sun. Actually, Long's called Aoyin. I just still call him Long. For support, Zhang Fei, Daidia, or Dong Huang. For mid, Ganemo, Da Ji, or Zhao Chao. For jungle, Auguron, Musashi, or Fade. These are not the single-handedly best heroes in each role, but they're all pretty easy to use and learn. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, and have a good day.